So, we're on our next chapter or topic. So, ang topic natin is the basics of agricultural economics. So, sabi nga natin from our past discussion na one of our isang field na itatakal talaga natin dito sa agribusiness is economics or agricultural economics. So, bakit nga ba natin to kailangan aralin? First, let's understand muna what is agricultural economics. Sabi dito, it's the study of how scarce resources are allocated and decisions are made in agricultural production. So, ibig sabihin, meron daw tayo ng scarce resources. When we say scarce, ibig sabihin nito, kulang ang resources na meron tayo. Ayan. Yes, kulang ang land natin, kulang ang labor, kulang ang capital, kulang ang management. And here in agribusiness, we have to deal with this scarcity. And sabi nga natin, we are to make decisions. And decisions for the production area, for the marketing side, and the consumption side. So, ito yung inaaral sa agricultural economics. And ginagamit natin to kasi we want to optimize the use of land, labor, capital, and technology in agriculture. So, ito yung mga resources na meron tayo. Sabi dito, optimize. So, when we say optimize, ibig sabihin, magamit natin ng maayos yung resources natin. Ibig sabihin, walang nasasayang, nami-minimize natin yung cost, nagagamit natin siya at its full potential. So, aaralin natin yung behavior ng mga producers, ng mga consumers, and yung mga markets in the agricultural sector. Ayan. So, etong iba't ibang scope ng agricultural economics. So, covered ng agricultural economics ang production and the supply of agricultural products, pag-manage ng farms and resources, price analysis, ayan. So, meron din kayo, magiging expert din kayo sa pag-analyze ng prices in the upcoming SEMs, ayan. And then, market dynamics, aaralin nyo din yung market dynamics, yung impact ng mga agricultural policies, ano pa ba? The government intervention, ito lang, government intervention, and yung role ng rural development and food security. Dapat pala naka-high yung okay. Now, of course, in agriculture, kailangan naiintindahan natin yung dynamics sa market. Ayan. So, ang discussion ko din for today is really focused on the market. Ayan. So, markets influence the distribution of resources and income in the agricultural sector. Agricultural markets are affected by unique factors like seasonality, perishability, and weather. So, alam naman natin na ang agriculture market is way different sa ibang market. Sa market ng mga computers, ibang agriculture. Kasi sa agriculture, kailangan natin i-conquer itong seasonality, di ba? Most of our products are seasonal in nature. Ibig sabihin, meron mga products na hindi natin napoproduce hindi natin napoproduce agad-agad. I mean, hindi natin napoproduce all throughout the year. So, may mga products or agricultural commodities na napoproduce lang, let's say, from January to March, and so, ganun lang. And then, perishability. So, when we say perishability, madaling masira. Ayan, isa pa yan sa kailangan natin i-deal in agriculture. Kaya, ang pag-aaral ng agribusiness is different sa business ng, let's say, ng computer, ng bag, or other products. Kasi we are going to deal with perishability. And syempre, weather, the very obvious one. Kasi, sa pagtatanim, apektado ang mga tanim natin if there is a weather disturbance. And ito, understanding supply and demand helps predict price fluctuation and market trends. essential for making informed business policy and investment decisions in agriculture. So sabi ko nga, here in agribusiness, talagang you will be trained to be wise decision maker kasi puro kayo dito. Ang goal nyo dito is to make decisions, the best decisions when it comes to business, to investment, to policy, and so. And okay, so let's go to ito yung pinaka-heart ng agricultural economics is the market. So, kailangan natin maintindihan what is there in the market. Sabi dito, it's an institution that facilitates transaction between buyers and seller. So, ibig sabihin, as long as there is a buyer, there is a seller, and there is a commodity that they are exchanging, we call that a market. Ibig sabihin, ang school or even your classroom can be called a market kapag merong nagbebenta at merong bumibili. Ayan. Now, yung market natin, it has developed throughout the years. So, through the years, I mean. So, meron tayong physical markets and meron din tayong online markets na nauso after nung pandemic. Now, ang market naman, it has different features. Merong arena or the platform where transactions are conducted. So, ito yung physical area. We also have the buyers and sellers. So, syempre, walang market kapag walang bumibili at walang nagbebenta. And, wala din yung market kapag walang binibenta at walang binibili, which is the commodity. Ayan. Now, we need to understand here when we talk about market, lagi natin yan maririnig yung demand and supply. So, let's start with the idea of demand. Ayan. So, sabi dito, it is the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices within a given time frame. Ibig sabihin, counted lang na demand if yung tao is willing siya at able siyang bilhin ang isang bagay. Ayun. So, when we talk about the concept of demand, ipapalagay natin yung sarili natin sa perspective ng mga buyers. Ayan. Ng mga buyers. Okay. Now, I have here the law of demand na dapat aral na aral nyo ito kasi dala-dala nyo to hanggang mag-4th year kayo. Sabi dito, the law of demand states that as price increases, consumers will purchase less of the specific commodities, ceteris paribus. Ibig sabihin, pag tumaas daw yung price, konti yung bibilhin ng mga consumers. Eto yon, price, pag bumaba naman daw yung price, yung quantity demanded or yung quantity ng bibilhin ng mga consumers is tataas. So, magkaiba yung direction nila. Pag bababa yung price, tataas yung quantity demanded. Siyempre, pag mura na yung isang produkto, bibili ka ng marami nun. Pag mahal naman yung produkto, bibili ka ng konti na nun. So, nakikita natin, magkaiba yung direction ng arrow ng price and quantity demanded. Therefore, meron silang inverse relationship. So, magkaiba. Inverse sila. So, inverse ang relationship ng price and quantity demanded. Now, meron tayo dito, ceteris paribus. Anong ibig sabihin ng ceteris paribus? It means that with other conditions remaining the same. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, di ba pag bumaba ang price ng isang produkto, not necessarily tataasan mo yung quantity demanded mo. Baka yung iba dyan isipin na, ay, baka poor ang quality niyan, poor yung quality, kaya biglang bumaba yung price. So, hindi ako bibili ng marami. Ayan. Pero, dito sa law of demand, meron tayo dito nakalagay na ceteris paribus with other conditions remaining the same. Ibig sabihin, i-disregard mo yung other factors that will affect or influence your decision sa kung ilan yung bibilhin mo. Ibig sabihin, titingin ka lang sa price. And, sabi dito sa law of demand, kapag yung price bumaba, ang tendency, ang mga tao bibili ng marami ng product na yun. Ceteris paribus. Without considering the other factors that influences your decision on how much to buy. Yan. Now, yung demand, pwede natin siyang ma-illustrate through a demand schedule and a demand curve. So, when we say demand schedule, it's simply just a table. So, dito sa isang side, nandito yung price, nandito naman yung quantity demanded sa right side. So, napapansin natin dito that habang pataas ng pataas yung price, ayan, from 0, 50, 100, so on, pababa naman ang pababa yung quantity demanded. 'Di ba? Ito kasi yung sinasabi natin sa law of demand that there is an inverse relationship between these two. Ayan. Now, we also have a demand curve. So, pwede din pala natin ma-illustrate yung demand using a curve. So, ayan siya. Ito yung curve. Yung sa curve naman, dito sa x-axis, nandito yung quantity. Ayan, quantity. While dito naman sa y-axis, nandito yung price. Ayan. So, price na sa y, quantity na sa x. And, pag plinat natin to dito, you will notice that the graph is downward sloping. Ibig sabihin, pababa siya. Ayan siya, pababa siya. Ayan. Downward sloping. So, lahat ng demand curve is downward sloping. Bakit? Kunwari ito, mataas. 400 na price, 0 ang quantity. 300 na price, 2 ang quantity. Bumababa yung price, tumataas naman yung quantity demanded. Kaya, downward sloping or negative sloping. Ayan. Now, meron tayong tinatawag na change in quantity demanded and change in demand. So, ano ba tong dalawang to? When we say change in quantity demanded, eto lang naman yan. Kunwari, from Q1, eto, sa price na to, eto yung quantity demanded niya na level. Pero, tapos pag nag-iba yung price, let's say, naging P2, eto naman na yung magiging quantity demanded niya. So, nagbago yung quantity demanded niya. So, when we say change in quantity demanded, it is just a movement along this curve. Ibig sabihin, the only factor that can change the quantity demanded is the price. Magbabago lang ang quantity demanded kapag nagbago din yung price. Ayan. So, huwag kayong malito sa quantity demanded and sa demand. When we say demand naman, itong buong line na yan. Yan. Kasi itong line na to, this is the demand curve. So, when we say change in demand, it's a shift to the right or a shift to the left of a demand curve. Pag yung demand curve natin nag-shift to the right, ibig sabihin nag-increase yung demand. Pag nag-shift to the left naman siya, ibig sabihin nag-decrease yung demand. Ayan. So, magkaiba ang change in demand sa change in quantity demanded. When we say change in quantity demanded, the only factor that can change the quantity demanded is the price. While, ano naman yung mga makakapag-change sa demand? Paano itong magpupunta sa right? Paano naman itong pupunta sa left? Ayan. So, let's see dito sa mga next slides. We have here the different determinants of demand. Ibig sabihin, ito yung iba't ibang factors na makakapashift sa demand curve natin. So, tignan natin on our next video.